Welcome to TCG Scrubs Podcast, the second go-around for the recording of this. Luckily, we're like, 7 minutes in? I don't know, y'all were recording.
We were 11 minutes in. We had
some really good times though, some good banter back and forth. You guys missed it.
Yeah.
It was funny.
But welcome to the podcast. I'm Oscar. And
I did a jab at Worlds and everything.
Yeah.
Oh.
I know. It's gone.
It's all come back to
me.
I
took some shots at the dudes about some stuff they were doing, and I would attempt it a second time, but we've done that before, and it was just horrible, and it wasn't as funny.
So, he did a jab at me, which I redirected back at Force of Will, and it was... okay.
Anyways, I'm with Team Energy's Colin. Joe's Corner, which I took a shot about how we hadn't seen Joe's Corner, which this is the part you could.
Oh yeah, we did a whole side tangent about how there's corner and there was someone camping at his
Joe's
house.
Corner comes up, but we just kind of poo over what Colin got.
Look, even my dog's over it. Look.
No, because at least with you, it's content. So we'll see at Joe's Corner eventually, right? That was the shot I took him, saying how we hadn't seen Joe's Corner. It's by the fact that he's like, "Oh, I want this special format. Oh, here's a new format." And
one thing I want to make sure carries over is that during that conversation, Joey had said, "Yeah, I'll film it. All that really will take a while is when I send it to Oscar so that he can edit it." Now keep that in the back of your minds. That was the main takeaway from that.
You're framing it way worse.
Oscar,
I would agree. It kind of went like that. Anyways,
it totally did. But I'm just saying, we're also having you do the podcast and stuff, which I feel like is just bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. Go ahead.
Anyways, so took a shot at Joey, took a shot at Colin. We'll see at Joe's Corner eventually, I'm sure. And to the intros of it all. So if you guys want to help support the channel, everything we do here, you can help by visiting the link in the description below for Happy Little Hug Factory. You guys can check them out. Now you can check them out for singles, for their buy list that they have. They do other card games. You do check out Caster Chronicles, that's what you're into. And also for sealed product, which you can generally do a little pre-order of at the beginning. Generally, I think right around the spoiler season, you'll see them. So maybe in a couple months, they'll do some pre-orders for the next set, which we got some cool information about for that. We'll talk about here near the end, or in a few minutes. And again, you can visit them in the link in the description below, which when you do that and do an order, they know we sent you over. And everything you do there does help out the channel here and everything that we do. And also to our patrons at patreon.com/TCGscrubs who help us in upgrading equipment and doing cool new stuff. I think we have, with our next here, bunch of money, we're going to upgrade my microphone first. And we did get a cool soundboard that was donated to us, which has been a while now, from Hooflung. Hooflung is one of our patrons, so shout out to him. And I definitely want to start using that. It's a cool soundboard. It's going to help us do a lot more cool stuff with it, beyond just recording here at home, but for doing things on the road and doing it. What?
Oh, I was going to say, especially for if we end up possibly doing another stream type of thing in some capacity in the near future, it'll greatly improve the audio quality that we had. I think that was probably the main problem we had at the stream was audio, which was really out of our control for the most part.
Yeah, there was only so much I could do to get that back on track. But with this equipment, obviously, like Colin said, it'll help us with that better stream quality. But head over to patreon.com/TCGscrubs. We have a Patreon podcast that we do. We do deck reviews whenever people send to us, kind of go over, give our opinions on it. We're not the best players, but maybe we can help you in a new direction you didn't think of before. And then lastly, I was saying how me and Joey lately have been playing some games online with each other. And maybe I'll start recording those and uploading those so you guys can enjoy that as well. In which I took some more shots at Joey for being a long player. He took some shots at me for playing long in one game. And then we kind of went back and forth. And I was like, there's the stuff you'll be able to enjoy if you go check that stuff out. Patreon.com/TCGscrubs. And lastly, DKP Accessories, which Colin, I think, had that bit. You want to go over that?
Yeah, so they're ones with magnetic playmat, and right now, tomorrow is the last day of the Memorial Day sale, so if you go there, it's half off of shipping, plus if you enter code TCG, you get 5% off, plus the first 25 people who go and do that will also get an extra set of the magnetic inserts that go inside of your sleeves for your cards, so it's a really good deal they have going on right now up until tomorrow. You can get all that. It's basically a nice little package to start you off. If after we'll hear with the story, so it's up in the air right now if Oscar will come over for us to film that. But hopefully at some point we'll come and film some gameplay with it. Our plan was to go and film it in the park because like my idea of what would be super awesome to do is to go to the park. Or I have a park right by my house during a Pokemon event this weekend, and you just go and sit in between two Pokemon stops or one Pokemon stop. You spin it, you have a lure catching Pokemon while you're playing Force of Will outside with all the wind and stuff because it doesn't matter. And so that was a really cool thing for me, and also being able to you can use it for a ton of stuff, including like at your locals, being able to transport it around without stuff scooting around. Oscar had pointed out you can actually, and this is such a cool idea, especially for like when he and I go on road trips for GPs and there's 3 of us, you have 2 people in the backseat of the car playing Force of Will because you don't have to worry about the bumps in the road necessarily as much to play, or other card games. It works well with, I was saying, with the Transformers and stuff.
It's a board, so it just sits in your lap, and then you don't have to worry about the playmat type thing. Just the board.
Yeah,
I thought that was awesome too.
You normally spend $20+ on a playmat, so for was it $40 or $45 starting price for this? You get something that's not only cool and unique, really portable and all that, but that's a lot more versatile. That you get all that sort of extra stuff with, and it's a really cool thing, and I really like it, and I'm looking forward to using it more. Yeah. So tomorrow's the last day to get those really good deals for it.
And of course, there's some cooler stuff they can always do with the product. Like I know one thing I've seen is maybe a bigger playmat area, which would be pretty cool, especially in that locals area, just larger playmat area that you can pick up and go with. But yeah, so I know what y'all guys think about that. Visit them. Was it dkpaccessories.com?
Yeah. There's a link in the description below.
Right. And code TCG for the discount.
5% off, and then the half off shipping is automatic. And if you're in that 25 bubble, the extra inserts will be automatic as well.
We also had a shout out that Jeremy also did a review on it. So
yeah, Jeremy did a review on it. So yeah, go check it out on his channel. We have a review if you haven't seen it on our channel, but go check out his review and then go get yours as well.
And just in case you're not familiar, it's Jeremy over at Ruler School. If you want to see that video.
Oh yeah.
Which most of y'all should be familiar. Just in case there's somebody new here, you can go check it out there. Where do we go from there?
Jumping into the main podcast, we had viewer submissions for podcast topics initially. We were supposed to record Sunday, and in the time span of Sunday and when we're recording this on Monday, some news came out. So that'll probably be the bulk of the podcast, but we'll go over some of the podcast things. If there's any that we think might be longer, longer to talk about and stuff, we'll save those for next week on the podcast so we don't sort of buzz through them and waste them. But you'll see both, or we'll explain why we were late on the recording, why that happened, and also we'll get to that main. Well, you probably saw it in the title of what the main topic is.
Yeah. What's the title name?
Well, okay then, Force of Will, whatever.
Okay, I probably won't use that.
Yeah, I was trying to think of something Oscar would have used.
So, yeah, like you said, a lot of the topics are easy to answer. I'll probably knock a couple out here before we start, and then just do a couple small topics to go. Anything that seems larger, we'll do for next podcast next week, unless something more comes out. But yeah, we were supposed to record Sunday night. Unfortunately, I was that night right before recording, about like 45 minutes before, I was like, my brother wanted to go to my grandparents, so I was going to take him with me take him to drop him off. Pizza dude cut out of a light where he wasn't supposed to, and we just we hit. I'll throw a photo up here, and it's not the greatest of photos. It was like a quick photo I took. It was nighttime, and my phone's about to die, so I get to deal with that now and all the insurance stuff, which is why we're making fun of Joey for leaving his Joe's Corner for me to record, and why we may or may not be able to record this weekend with me and Colin. Stockpile some games up and do that review of DKP Accessories playmat.
In case that picture isn't clear, his car was totaled, so he's got to figure all that. Also, your glasses look different. That's weird.
Yeah, that's another thing. During the accident, and we're on the side of the road waiting to sort it out, I was like, oh, I'm not even wearing my glasses anymore. I was wearing them in the car, and I guess they flew off during that accident. I don't know where they went. But I found out where my car was towed to, so we're going to go check it out and see if I can get them. I got the insurance on them. So...
Oh, that's lucky.
Yeah, as long as I recover them, I guess I can go... Colin told me about the insurance where we went.
Yeah. It covers everything except for being lost. So as long as he can find them, or at least pieces of them, he's
damn.
good to go.
Yeah. So luckily I did that. Luckily Colin talked me into that. So, which I never usually do that stuff. But anyway, so that was Sunday. That was my Sunday night, and then I was like, "Can we delay the podcast?" And Colin was like, "No, we can't." But no, here we are Monday night recording. Let's go ahead and jump into some of these questions. Some of these were super easy. Did our locals get the buy a box promo for Arwen? I'm honestly not sure. I've been out of town for multiple weekends. One for the GP, and then the second was a family trip. I was actually going to go today, being Monday, to get a booster box of the new set, but with the accident and dealing with stuff with finding a backup car for now and dealing with the insurance, I wasn't able to go. So I'm actually not sure if our locals got it. We are hoping to set up a meetup for Sunday like we usually do, in which we'll show up and play, and I'll probably find that answer out more then. Let's see.
Yeah,
wow, you guys
I'm
going to ask about my locals.
I'm in the same boat as Oscar. Not that I was out of town, but like I haven't been at the locals. I live a lot farther from them than Oscar, so it's a whole event for me to go there.
Yeah.
It's a little more than an hour actually for both.
So I think we're gonna save most / least excited to see rotate for next week, and then I'm also gonna save Wanderer for that week. So we're gonna do like each of those. Actually, no, I'm going to do the Wanderer round. So, thoughts on Wanderer being abandoned, as well as the abandoning of the ban list and how it's not being updated. That actually has a team together. It's not the Forcible Company team or anybody who's behind the company creating this ban list, but it is Jeff and a team of individuals from around the world, from different regions, who are going to be working to get that ban list updated. It's not, like I said, officials where official event is run. It's going to be recognized amongst the players, which with Jeff behind it, I would also trust it and go with it as well. So that's not necessarily abandoned. So that's kind of, any thoughts on that, guys?
No. Go ahead.
No, go.
No, I think it's like Oscar said. I mean, it super sucks that I would just expect in official capacity never to hear of Wanderer again, essentially. Mm-hmm. But in an unofficial capacity, like you said, Jeff covering it will be nice, but it'll just basically Wanderer will become a straight up for fun format. It's not going to be competitive anymore. There will never be an actual event again for it. But the fact that Jeff is it'll make it so that you can at least do it with your locals and have a very solid ban list and not worry about it being annoying with strong stuff. And if you're not sure if the way that Jeff is doing it is to your liking, there's also the alternate format, which is, what is it called again?
Origin?
No. The what now? I was looking at these notes.
The one that rules the other guy was doing. I'm totally blanking. Conquer format is basically Wanderer, but with their rules, which I believe included like a Void Energize, Blanket Void Energize, and stuff like that. So I would check out both Conquer and then the Wanderer group that Jeff and I believe it's Stephanie Shaw's putting together. So you got like two options as far as gameplay styles for Wanderer. So it could lead to some pretty interesting things, and we'll see. Maybe in a couple years, the company will pick it up in an official fashion if it really picked up everywhere. But it sucks that the company won't support it. But at least we have a strong, I think, structure that, at least for the local area and stuff.
I was pretty much thinking the same thing. Like, it's going to be closer to an Epic Stories kind of format. Obviously a little more popular since it's actually it's an actual easier format to get into and easier format to kind of understand and stuff too. It's not like wonky like Epic Stories, but I mean, I think if maybe the company gets further and further along and somebody brings it back up or they bring it back up, maybe we'll see it. But basically, same thoughts as Colin right now.
Yeah. What we'll say for the next podcast is the most least excited for to see it rotate. I think we can actually discuss the whole podcast on rotation. It's also a little early to discuss rotation just yet, in my opinion.
Next week's going to be perfect for rotation, though.
Listen, it's a week later. It's a week later. It's all that matters, okay? But we'll talk about that one next week, unless something else comes up. I mean, unless Joey has other things he wants to talk about instead. I'm sure he's just got tons of ideas for the next podcast.
For rotation? for next podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'll think of something. Huh?
Do it.
Next
Do
topic.
It. You won't.
Maybe I won't.
So the next one, actually, all this ties together with the information that came out today. So there was it brought up cluster rotation, but it says it was mostly about reprints. Like, what about the reprints? Like, will we see reprints of anything from the starter decks going forward? So that way we can get a hold of, say, runes and certain
good stuff.
The good stuff, yeah, the good stuff that people, because there's been people posting in various groups saying like, hey, I wanted to get into this, but I can't get a starter type situation.
And to be clear, when 99.99% of people ask this, they're asking about reprints of the starter decks as a starter deck to buy a starter deck. Just to be clear. 99.9999% of people. I'm just setting the stage. I'm just setting, making sure we're clear.
And in which the Todd Dreisbach. I'm sorry, Todd, I forgot to verify that with you again. I was struggling last week. He helped run. Wow. He actually ran the Bethlehem GP last couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he was pretty awesome.
Yeah, he was great. Which he said, should we all mass email them, kind of pushing for, reprints so they know to get that points to come across, things like that. Another question was expectations of the next set, like things that we would think are going to be in it, things that how we think is going to go, which is before all the announcements came out for that we're about to go
We have
over.
a good idea of what will mostly be in this.
So, for what's coming up in the next set, we did get a news update today. Now,
Wasn't there another question in there, real quick? Or are we saving that to next week?
The one I had
about starting a channel.
Yeah. Sorry, that one was last minute, and I didn't hit the view all on the second time I was making the list. No, there was one for starting a channel, which we can do that on another week. We did we talked about it on Patreon. Okay, we'll do that one again. Maybe we can do that in the beginning half of next week, and then the rotation part in the second half. So it gives us stuff to really get into.
Yeah, and we'll try and talk about something different.
We will talk about
slightly different than we did on Patreon. If you guys aren't aware, we did when Jeremy was on, he did a Patreon podcast with us, and we basically talked about different things on starting a YouTube channel, what to expect, and different things like that. But we'll talk about that.
We'll do that on the main podcast, and we'll go in depth on that. We'll go a little bit like a history on how we got started, and then just establishment after that, and what we did, and what we recommend, I guess.
Before we blew up.
Yeah.
So popular.
Okay, so information came out, and that was today. I forget what time. I guess around 1 p.m. Central is what this article says. Which this information comes from icv2.com. You guys can check it out. It is a reliable source of information. The post itself usually comes from people who own shops or are associated with the shop, in which a buy list, I guess, or what's it called? What do you call it? A
sales list, sales sheet.
Sales sheet will come in for the next set, which has a little bit of information so the stores know what to expect. We've seen these in the past, always announced and publicly posted, because a lot of the spoilers for the last few sets, they threw one card in there. I noticed they didn't do it this one, but they'll throw in I think that's how we saw Sapling last round, and then the one before that we saw Ruined Earth. I forgot the other ones, but so I'm going to read this only because it was posted on Facebook. I know some of you guys don't use Facebook. We put it on Discord. I know some of you guys don't use Discord. I probably should have put it on Twitter, but I forgot to remember that now. But it's about the next set for the clusters, so set 4. It says will be released, cluster 4, The Decisive Battle of Valhalla, which will release on August 30th. And now here's the bit that's probably more interesting. It says the booster release features 100 different cards in all, plus secret rares, including 35 commons, 25 uncommons, 20 rares, and 20 super rares. And then it says the uncommon and common cards are reprints from V0 starters, so the starters of this new cluster, the Brunhilds, the Adams, and things like that. There are 10 cards per pack. Okay, it's just the usual stuff, so yeah. Here's one more. As pre-order bonus, there will be a limited PR card for 1 box and a limited PR card for 2 boxes.
So there's a lot to break down there.
Buy 2 box promos, yeah.
It's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
Let's go line by line. Let's start with the quantities. So as you heard there's 20 rares and 20 super rares. Do you wanna cover that one, Oscar?
Yeah, so I've done tracking in the past for each set that's come out, and kind of the number of rares and super rares have been released, just to give us an idea when we're doing spoilers what to expect per color and all that stuff. And the average number for super rares is actually usually only 10, so that number is doubled this go around, which I thought was interesting. Rares are still the same. That's still at 20, which is what it's supposed to be at.
But following rarity and how common, how likely you are to pull rares, super rares, etc. By having 20 super rares, the whole original idea of Force of Will of buying 2 boxes, 3 boxes, and getting the cards you need is officially gone. You're going to need a lot of boxes to get all the super rares. Just one of each super rare. You're going to need several boxes. There goes my cat. Golly, that threw me off. But
okay, but I mean, you're pretty much going to need buy multiple boxes, because usually when you open a box up, some SRs you won't even see. Like, there's been box openings I've seen, or even the ones we've done, where you don't pull a Garmhild, or you don't pull, like, say, the Abuzaruki, things like that. But you'll pull, like, maybe 3 of what was that, Ageron, or what's the green mouse? So different things like that, but that's with 10. So at 20, that unless they change the way these sets are built, and you're getting maybe 2 SRs per pack as a thing, or who knows, if they'll change it or if they'll stay the same. Kind of still in the mystery on that, like in the dark.
They would have to double the pull rate of SRs in order to keep it with the same quantity. So where you're like, oh, we pulled 3 Algernons. You wouldn't do that anymore because there's 20 cards. Statistically, that's not going to happen, and statistically, you're double as likely to not pull twice as many super rares. And so I don't know all the compound math and all that, but essentially, you're gonna have to buy a lot of boxes or spend a lot of money on singles in order to get what you needed. So that part's unfortunate and also really, really weird to randomly do that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's that section. So the next section, is the uncommons and commons are reprints of the new Valhalla starter decks. For anyone confused, that's the newest starter decks that no one can get a hold of, that the company promised they would reprint with every single set, the starter decks.
Did they actually promise that, or was that just something Jeff wanted to do?
No, Jeff was told it would happen. Jeff was told it would happen, and then, or I don't remember the specifics.
I've seen someone
or some people at the company.
Well, I've seen later posts where he was like, "We need the order sheets to go out every time," and they're like, "Yeah, we'll do it," but like, that was the order sheets for every time a set came out. If they needed to buy them, they could order them, they'd print them and send them out. But they didn't send the order sheets out.
Yeah, and they never printed more to send out to anyone. Intentionally, like they had the opportunity to, and intentionally chose not to, because they didn't want. I forget what the specific wording is of why they didn't, but so like was mentioned at the beginning, people have been wanting these star decks reprinted so that they can get a hold of mainly the rulers. If you look, ruler pricing is really high for some of the rulers. It's kind of dumb, and things that are unique to the star decks that are still useful, like some of the master runes. Maybe some of the runes, kind of, and then error
runes.
But not a lot of them are used competitively of the straight runes. But
I'd argue they are.
Okay.
I'd
argue there's maybe 4 or 5 total that are not master runes. Yeah, that are not outside of master runes that are used. I'd say there's 4 or 5 regular runes that are used.
Nah, okay. I think there's quite a bit.
I'm going through right now. Yeah, consistently. Yeah, 1, 2. Do you want me to read these out loud? I don't know if you want to read these out. All right. Ring of Legend. Ironhajar Summons. Explosion. Antimatter.
That much?
No. It is in a red deck.
Nobody.
Okay. I won't include it then. Okay.
I say consistently. I emphasize.
Okay.
Probably
Sealing
every
Scroll?
rune has seen play.
Sealing Scroll,
not a master rune?
Rowan. Yeah, it is.
I thought Sealing Scroll was master rune.
Oh, master rune. Rowan Technique.
Colin said no master.
Yeah. Okay. Rowan Technique. Rapid Fire Me.
Yeah.
Tears of the Fallen. Jet Black Wings. Demon Division.
Fallen's not a master rune?
No, it's not.
Am I getting mixed up?
Not even close.
No.
Okay, I'm mixing it.
Jet Black Wings and Demon Division are super popular.
Yeah.
Those both really.
Are those runes?
Yeah, these are all runes. These are all runes in the starter decks. Either way, there's enough that like I would say that there's more than a handful we would need.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just saying, out of 25, we're up to 7 right now, and I said 5, so you shoot me in the head.
I will.
But my point was, so we got Air and we got Acolyte. So there's a couple cards in there. But basically, the point I was trying to get at, outside of that, wasn't even all that. It was just that the rulers and the master runes and some of the runes and stuff, like the main ones. And so they're reprinting, but it's in the common uncommon rarity slot. So we can assume, as of right now, that they're going to keep rarities. It's going to be the common and uncommon cards in the star decks, unless they switch the rares and stuff that were in the star decks and transform into the commons and commons, which it would be kind of weird. Mm-hmm. And I would wager they're not going to do that very highly. Well, and we can pretty much guarantee, beyond I personally would feel beyond a shadow of doubt they're not reprinting the rulers at any. They're not going to reprint a ruler and stick it in the uncommon slot of the booster pack.
Mm-hmm. What if? Okay, hear me out, because I'm going to play like a little bit of like devil's advocate and stuff. Like, let's say the announcement was just really shitty, and they're going to print 5 rulers and 5 master runes, and those are the extra 10 slots for the super rares, right? And then they're going to print the other runes at like common and uncommon rarities, along with a little bit of the draft, like chaff and stuff. Like, is that something that sounds reasonable? Like, no. Why not?
No, I mean, I could talk about it right now, or I could get to it later. But I don't think there's any scenario you put is not reasonable. I think for what they've done, I can't think of any reasonable scenario that says, hey, this thing you've promised that people have been asking for, which is starter decks reprinted, and also this booster box we've been expecting. Instead, let's morph them together, not give you the thing that we promised you, and this booster box will only have 40 new cards out of 60. Well, we'll talk about that in a sec. But have a low amount of new cards, the lowest we've seen since Millennia of Ages of new card pool, and we'll sell that to you for full price, $100. So you know how people have been complaining about it's hard to get new players in without the star decks, where they could just go spend $20 on a star deck and they're in the game? Well, fear not. For $100, they might get enough cards from one of the colors of the star deck to might sort of make a deck, but they won't have the ruler. Or they could have the ruler if they put it in there and it has a chance of pulling it. They might have the rune. They might have the master rune from pulling a booster box. It goes against the whole point of the starter decks, and it goes the whole point of consistency of that they were trying to go for. All the people who argued, oh, the star decks are a great idea because it takes out the randomness of the rulers in the booster boxes, which I was against. I'm still half and half on it, but all those exact same people are now saying, like, no, this is a great idea, putting the rulers back in the booster box. I remember the names of people who said that, and they're going the exact opposite of what they said before. So it's encouraging the company to do these stupid things. This is literally the company being like, we made 40 cards, bleh, here's these cards we promised you, but now they're in here, so we don't have to do any of the work. When they, as a company, they should have done the star decks and the booster box separately. There's literally no excuse to morph them into one when they could have done both. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's fair. Like, I agree with you. I think that they're printing cards from the starter deck anyways. Like, why not just create boost? Like, why not just send out
overprice them
new decks?
Make an MSRP of $40. That's cheaper than what they're going on now, and you guys will make a pretty penny off of that. And people will be kind of mad, but they'll be less upset than what's going on right now. At least give us the starter decks. Yeah. And also for people saying that, well, now you can get full arts of those cards. One, they're already full art. They're just adding foil. They were already full art. Two, it's just foil. it's not texture. And as a collector, I don't care, because when you put the sleeve on, you can barely see the foil anyways. Like, I still get them when I max out the deck just for OCD reasons, but that's I'm not going to buy boxes.
I got to comment on this real quick. I like how in the other podcast, like a week or two ago, and we're talking about opening the new set, and you're like, it's barely textured. I was like, but Colin, if you put it into a sleeve, can you even identify it? Like, yeah, no, I can always tell. That's what I aim for is the
texture.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Now you're like, oh,
yeah, texture. Yeah. No, I specifically was talking about texture because
I can tell holographics in a sleeve too.
Because some hollows you can't see in a sleeve, but you can always see the pattern of the texture. You can always see that. Maybe not with the new set.
Okay, I'm just saying because what you just said contradicted what you said last time.
I don't think so. I think I was specifically talking about
textures. It didn't 100% contradict, but I do agree with Oscar. Like, foiling is an important thing, and just because you don't like it and you're like, now you're spoiled on texture stuff and like really.
No, I think the foiling is great. I think the foiling is fine. I think foiling commons and commons, as I've always said before, is fine. I understand people that are saying like, oh, now you get the full arts of the card. I'm saying we already have full arts. They're literally just putting foil on it. On some of the, you get a chance to get foil.
And some people,
that's cool.
That's literally that's like what Magic the Gathering does. Like,
they should have done that in the star deck. They should have done half and half like they've done before. But that's everything. But nice. I think if they took the cards from the star deck and there's a chance you could pull a hollow full art of them, that would be cool. And you never pull the lower rarity. There's just it's like a chase almost, but like a more common chase, kind of like what Caster Chronicles did when they reprinted set 1 cards and they updated the art on it, and so you're very highly likely to pull them, and it was a cool way to kind of like pseudo max out the rarity of your deck because those cards were also hollow, whereas the other ones weren't. That would be cool. But the fact that it's just going to flood your booster packs with it, when you buy a booster pack, you're going to get 1 new card and 9 cards that if you bought the star decks you already have. If you're trying to get into the game, you're probably just pulling the same cards over and over again for star decks you don't want to play or some weird conglomeration for a ruler you don't have.
I haven't pulled packs in like 3 years, so I'm completely blanking on dumb stuff. There's only 1 rare or 1 super rare in each pack, right?
There's a chance you can get a rare and a super rare.
Yeah. Okay, but it's
you can get a regular rare and a full art super rare, I believe.
But most of the time it's just going to be a rare or a super rare, right?
80 to 90% of the time.
Yeah. So that means that if they reprint all the slots of common and uncommons, then yeah, you are going to get 9 cards that are from the starter deck, which some people might already have, and then 1 rare and super rare will be new cards. That's pretty ridiculous. I mean, we'll have to see like how exactly they plan it out. What they mean by like replacing the commons and uncommons with the.
These numbers don't add up either, do they? 35 commons, 25 uncommons. I thought it was 30 commons.
Yeah.
But so that's 50, 60 cards that are going to be reprinted, correct?
No, so what we on the live stream of Royal School's podcast, Jeremy mentioned, I think near the end, that he was told they are not all reprints for the commons and uncommons, that there will be some new ones. We don't know how many, just that there are, which means that Force of Will somehow messed up their sell sheet, which as a company, that's like... I've looked at the sell sheet. There's not. They also like messed up the font on it, so some of it was off. It was weird, but the actual sell sheet, like that's straight up what it says, is that it's all reprints. So if that's not the case, someone at First Will doesn't know how to make a sell sheet.
Let's imagine that they're not all reprints, like 50% or like 30% of the commons and uncommons.
I think it's a good guess to say. Oh no! I was just saying. I think it's a good guess to say 10 might be new, so that's an even 50-50 split.
10 commons and uncommons. That's not a 50-50.
Yeah, that would make 50 new ones and 50 reprints. There's 40 new ones right
total.
Yeah.
No. I was talking about just in the commons and uncommon slot, because the thing is, like, I was kind of thinking about it, like, back and forth. I was giving Forceful the doubt, kind of, and stuff like that. And then you started saying, like, you're gonna get 9 cards that you've already had, and I started thinking, like, your common and uncommon pull ratios are gonna be like, it's just gonna feel bad. Like, you're gonna open a brand new pack, you're gonna flip through like 9 other cards that you probably already have, and then you're gonna get to those final two, like one card, and that's the only new card that you're ever gonna see, or two cards if you're really lucky.
And also, as a side thing, with
that's gonna 20 feel really bad.
And 20 super rares instead of 10 means there's less common and uncommons, which means those 9 cards, you're more percentage-wise more likely to see repeats of the same cards over and over again, even more so than we already do with this smaller 100-card set.
Yeah. Something I was going to jump in with as well is based on these numbers. Let's just say that it's the 60 cards, 10 of them are new. So 50 of them are reprints from the starter deck. So it's like 10 cards, right, per color. And there's 16 common and uncommons per starter deck. So it's like they're going to go through and cherry pick some of the cards that they may want to see reprinted. It's just like, hopefully they pick the right ones. And I also brought something up with Colin, was like, does that mean if it was made into a promo, it won't get reprinted in a set? Like Air. Air is an uncommon card that I think is very useful in anybody who's going to want to run Brunhild or anything, white in that matter right now. And will she get a reprint, or are they going to be like, well, she was a promo, so no? Or is this, what does that mean?
Yeah, it'll be. I'm really hoping that they do it a better way than what we're like theory crafting here and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, because otherwise, like, I see a lot of potential. Like, Colin talking about the whole like 9 cards like that are all going to be the same. It's gonna be you're just gonna end up with a bunch of bulk, like mounds upon mounds of bulk, which happens a lot, yes, but
in which I mean, scale. With that, okay, so I, there's a couple other topics I want to get on as well as beyond this, but even if you have bulk, I will admit that there are locals who don't have the starter decks. Like one of the people that we play with, that we now work with, wants some of the white cards. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like, oh, if I've opened a box, here, Lee, here's some key essentials to a Brunhild deck. You wanted to build that, so now you can go build that. So it's like, yeah, you're seeing on bulk, but maybe that could be some of the stuff you donate to your shop for their trade box, so they're in the common box.
Once again, that would be fixed if they just reprinted the starter decks like they were supposed to.
Well, yeah, it would be, but
but
like making
you can
the best,
put positives.
But making the best of the situation that we do have is what I'm just trying to do. Not, oh yeah, it would have been better. Well, yeah, it would have been better the other way. But now that we have this, what do you do to make this situation even better? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but go ahead.
If we try and look at the bright side and we try and look at the silver lining on the cloud, what's the best thing that like my thinking was, okay, so the first thing I wanted to ask are the regular runes are rares, right?
No, there's common and commons, and the rares were the master runes.
The master runes, okay. Mm-hmm. See, my kind of silver lining would be because really people are looking a lot at the master runes, the rulers, and a select smattering of the commons and uncommons like air and stuff like that. Yeah. I think the best way they could do this is to take those 10 slots, those 10 kind of extra slots from the super rares, put your master runes and your rulers in there, like put the commons and uncommons to have the leftover runes, and then just kind of fill out the rest of the commons and uncommons with like a select few really nice stuff. And then maybe I'll say the set won't be like totally doomed to like pull, like to be like as bad as Millennium of Ages, hopefully, and stuff like that. Like,
oh no, go ahead.
No, I'm just like imagining that. Look, Forceful already messed up their sell sheets and stuff, like with the whole. Like, they're telling us that the commons and uncommons aren't all going to be reprints. So I'm hoping that that's where those 10 extra super rares are coming from. Otherwise, we're going to get like 10 others way overpowered super rares.
Well, that's probably what we're going to get, because my what I'm thinking in my head of how do you retain value with this, and you retain value by creating what we've heard that Kim wants to do, which is to create super strong game-breaking cards that make people need to buy the set in order to get those super expensive game-breaking cards.
At the same time, I agree with you, but at the same time, if you think about it, you're creating a need and what's what I'm looking for? You're creating a demand for, like an artificial demand for the starter decks. So putting those runes, those master runes and the rulers in the super rare slots does create an additional demand for this set.
Yeah, if they do put those in, but the problem is I feel like we're in a no-win situation because what do? We buy the box so that it's still the Forcible stays alive, and then the company is like, cool, we can keep doing this.
Yeah.
Or do we not buy it and potentially hurt Force of Will and make it go away? And the company's like, wow, you guys sunk it. Why didn't you guys buy this set? And stuff like I feel like we're in a no-win situation because it didn't work, I guess, with the buy two. We'll get to that in a sec, but with the buy 2 box promo, they're doing it again. So people obviously probably bought 2 boxes to get that, and now I haven't checked the recent price on that actually, but this company doesn't care about player feedback. Which is fine. They can do that if they, and we'll see how they do, but. If they find out that they can literally make 60% of the set reprints, and they have what 16 sets to pull from, I don't trust them to not do that again with other star decks or with other booster boxes or Vingolfs or stuff like that. And people will be like, oh, cool, I never got Vingolf 3. God, they reprinted it in here for 60 of the cards. Oh, I didn't. Legacy Lost was a big seller, and I didn't get that, or I never got Time Spinning Witch because of those, blah blah blah, and it'll be a way, and it'll create a whole other conundrum of problems if they. I'm not saying they would do this, but I'm just saying it's like the buy 2 box promo, which set precedent. People did it, looks like, so they did it again. I'm afraid of the exact same thing happening here.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree. But beyond, I hope this is a one-off thing that they might be doing, and hopefully maybe it'll do well because of the demand for the starter deck stuff, and maybe if they put enough of those cards in there, maybe it'll just be a one-off thing. But I do agree that it sounds more like precedent, and it sounds like they're trying, maybe they're probably saving a bunch of money with not having to design half the design space of the set. They're they're doing the whole buy 2 boxes promo 2, which I agree is it's setting bad precedent, and hope they might have set out Arwen is kind of like a testing thing. They could have said, oh man, Arwen did really well, let's do it again, but make the card a little bit stronger this time, and then you get into even more issues. What's to say they don't just do the buy 2 box promo and it's just crazy busted, or it's a lot stronger than Arwen.
Yeah,
so
or
precedent,
or
is
it's
something
randomized one of the starter deck rulers, and that's how they do that.
Yeah. Precedent is a good thing to bring up. You have to think about that when this whole conversation comes up.
Yeah.
Also, something I was noticing, I think I brought up a con earlier, is how does this affect pre-release? With all these cards being in the box, they have the original set, name and numbers as the starter decks did. So that's how we've always had reprints take place, which we've had them in the past with the reprint of the SRs and full arts during, Red Cluster, and then the that was it, really, right? No, we had another one when they did a special fancy versions of Larite and Dark Riding Hood and stuff like that. They had original set numbers, and the rule for draft is you can't use anything that doesn't have the matching set numbers. So it means it excludes common and uncommons, and you're using 10 commons and a bunch of SRs. or whatever.
So the way I see that, and Oscar did kind of say pre-release is probably going to be pretty horrible, and I completely agree. Especially depending on how they do it. If they keep the set numbers, then pre-release won't even happen. You can't. The ruling won't you won't even have enough cards to play a pre-release. If the starter deck reprints keep the starter deck set number, then it won't even matter. You definitely won't have enough to make a deck or anything. It just won't be. It just won't happen. If they change the set number, then you'll have a lot of unbalanced cards that aren't good, that aren't balanced for pre-release. which it will be equally as bad. Or not, definitely not equally as bad, but it'll be a really unfun kind of stale format, which sounds bad.
Yeah, but oh, and it'll make that what is it, Italian advanced format super weird now.
Yeah, because like when I think set 1 of this cluster would rotate, the starters go with it, but it's like, oh, but wait, here's some of these like runes that you can't play because you don't. I don't know if they're gonna do runes in the next set, and here's all these cards from that. Which I guess some of the cards would work like if they had Acolyte of the Sun or something like that. But it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Something else I already lost it. I was gonna mention it earlier, then Colin started talking.
All that it was about pre-release and about pulling 8 pre-release cards.
I don't remember.
Comments. I don't know.
No.
I'm just trying to jot your memory. No,
I don't remember.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Pre-release, that sounds really unfun and really lame. Like, I don't even know if I'd want to do a private.
Part of pre-release is
Joey's like, I'm not going to pre-release. I'm just not going to
go. Boycotting pre-release for the 5th time in a row.
Part of pre-release is like the excitement of playing with all these cool new cards. Also, just as balancing all that aside, it's like going and you're literally 90% of the cards are stuff you've been playing with for the past year. That's a boring pre-release. There's nothing fun about that.
I mean, I think I remember now. I was gonna say is like it kind of lines up with what Rob had told us. I mean, we had a phone call with Rob when the U.S. group was archived. We weren't sure, I guess, how true it was. So we really didn't make a huge deal about it at the time because we wanted to wait to see it maybe happen.
Yeah.
In which he had said this set was supposed to be a 50-card set, but now it looks like it's not a 50-card set. It's a 50-card set with 50-card reprint included with it. So maybe they kind of pivoted, like, oh, that could be bad as well. Like they recognized it and they're just doing the best that they could.
Yeah, like it sounds, from what I can tell, it sounds like that was a sort of like relatively recent change of adding in those starter deck cards. And I think they were seeing like it would probably like come across someone's like, does no one remember MOA? And someone's like, oh yeah, that was a set I remember. I don't know. And so they're like, okay, well, we have some JPEGs of these cards. Let's throw 50 of those in there.
Well, the interesting part is, if you remember what Rob said, he had said 50-card reprint of the original
art
Valhalla
reprint.
Stuff.
He said art.
Oh, just the art? Well, it was supposed to be the original artwork from the original Valhalla set. So I guess they found the new artwork to fill this set in? Or is that going to be?
What you're talking about?
Is that going to be the big surprise we get? We're going to be like, oh, we're going to get new art. Oh, it's reprinted art.
Could you imagine 50 cards, or like 50, 60 cards, starter deck reprints? The other 50 cards are new cards, but all with old Valhalla art.
And they're like, here's 10 SRs that have unique art.
I know, right? Oh my god, that sounds awful.
Also, spoiler season is going to be super boring this year for this set. Holy crap. It's like, all right. Well, I guess with their 1 card a day thing, we'll stretch it out a bit, but like it's like, all right, we're up to 40 cards. Woo, that was it. That's all the cards. Will they reveal what all the reprints are in a spoiler fashion? Or, I doubt it, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah. We'll see where it goes from here. I think we'll go ahead and end the podcast at this point. I think we're kind of running out of steam of what to discuss in that subject. Unfortunate, of course, we'll look at, as best as we can, the better side of this. I know I can try to look at that. I don't know about Colin. And we'll go to the Patreon podcast and discuss some other stuff on that, I guess. Mm-hmm. We'll see what we do going forward. And I forgot to mention the whole car accident thing. My brother was saying, we're both fine. I didn't know. We're totally okay. I got a bruise in my arm. That's really about it, like a scratch on this side from the seatbelt. But we're good. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye. Yeah.